Hey everybody, we're back with Terry's Tribe, and I have another amazing guest. But first, I am your host, Terry Wells Brown, the author of the series Women of Wine Country. I write under T. Wells Brown. And stay tuned because book 5 in the Women of Wine Country series lands the end of this month, and I know everybody's really excited. I'm really excited. My beta readers have been reading crazy and getting back feedback, so we're really excited about that. If you have any questions or want to get involved in the party we're going to have, since we can't meet in person, you can go join Terry's Tribe. It's a group on Facebook, and it's just so much fun. It's a little naughty, so be prepared. We get crazy in there, but I think the times call for it. So with no further ado, I would love to introduce Miss Suzie Bauer. She is the author of 10 Keys to Living a Soul Life. Welcome to the show.
I am so excited to be here, and I can't wait to read your naughty book.
Yeah, the books are good. They've got a little naughty in them, but mostly the group is naughty. So
I love it.
Get it. We've got to have a place to blow off steam, right? I mean, all of us ladies.
And that's totally why I was attracted to you. I felt like zoom magnet.
I'm that girl that'll go bury the body with you.
You sound like my daughter.
I might write about it later, but I'm the girl. Like if you want to go do something that we're not supposed to be doing, I'm like, oh, sounds great. Let's go.
That is really good to know.
Don't tell me.
Shh, don't tell anybody.
Yeah. You got to have somebody back up to come dig you out of the hole, right?
That's a true girlfriend right there. That is a soul sister.
Yeah. So I'm very curious about the title of your book, 10 Keys to Living a Soul Life. So what is a soul life?
Great. Thank you for asking that, because I know it's kind of a weird title. People often like, well, what does that mean, soul? We got soul, we got blues, what do we got? Yeah. But where this all came from was just, I've been studying for many years shamanism. I'm a hypnotherapist of 25 years, really dove into the spiritual aspect of life, and also just dove into like Wayne Dyer information, Tony Robbins. Just all my life I've been on this path of self-discovery and improvement, and I personally found this spark of our soul self, which is kind of like your higher self, the version of yourself that comes from the spiritual realm, God, whatever it is for you. And as opposed to being our ego self, which when we're in our ego or personality self, we get in a lot of trouble, because Wayne Dyer I had big influence in my life with this. And it's what I teach my clients, is to become consciously aware of your unconsciousness. So your ego thinking, which is easily offended, needs to be right. When you're unhappy, pretty much it's because the personality or the ego self is running the show. And the ego can be very dramatic and really pull you off your peaceful center. And that's kind of how it substantiates itself. And it's, being here on the earth plane, being a human, as opposed to our soul self, which is really that, deep knowing and intuition and guidance, where you just feel really in the flow of life and you feel peaceful and joyful no matter what outside circumstances are. And we were just, talking about this before you started the show. We're just living in this really unique, weird paradigm right now where victim consciousness, which is part of the ego, is celebrated. And my whole life has been about rise above your story. We all have a story. Come on. You don't even want to know mine. It'll make you cry for days. But we all have one. Yeah. And so I learned early on in my early 20s that we have to let go of that victim story. And, it's all part of our growth and learning. We're here to fail. So I always tell my clients and the people I work with, there's no such thing as failure. You're going to fall down a lot and you're going to get back up. Everything's about growth and learning. And so the more you can become consciously aware of that unconscious ego thinking, that's like what we call the stinking thinking.
I say that a lot.
Stinking thinking. And you get back into your soul self, just when the quiet mind comes in, that's where the joy is. That's where you can love yourself unconditionally and let the ego stuff kind of fall away, or just observe it and kind of laugh about it, because we're very comical human beings.
Yeah, and I think too that like there's so many lessons to be learned there, right? First off, failure is just a tool to on the path to getting better at whatever it is that you're doing. Like you have to fail to learn. And at some point we stop doing that. And I'm going to upset a lot of people when I say this, but I know that this gets said often, then it upsets a lot of people, but it started with the participation trophies. You know, it's like, people's feelings are not anybody else's responsibility but that person, you know. And if you're allowing things to happen on Facebook, and I'm just as guilty as the next person, to disrupt your peace, then you're not in control anymore, right?
Yeah, we've all gotten sucked into that, even myself, and I teach this stuff, so it's easy to do, but it's really mind-boggling. It's really just mind-boggling to me, the attacks and the needing to be right thing. No matter what, I love everybody. I really do, because I've worked on this a long time, and I strive to be in my soul self energy most of the time. So when even somebody's behaving terribly, I realize they're in pain because they're caught up in that ego drama. And we have to pull out of that. If we're going to survive this weird time we're living in all together, which is what we need to be working towards, we've got to get over that anger and rage and needing to be right and getting offended, because it does nothing but cause more of that. And it just sucks the joy right out of you. It really does. And you're right. Yeah, what you just said is so true. And so I try very hard to be loving and kind. I'm not perfect. I get angry, of course. We all do. If I was perfect, I'd be ascending like the masters, and I wouldn't be here. So obviously I'm still learning too. And it's okay to make mistakes. That's the thing. And you know, I admire you so much, Terry, and I think this is one of the things that really attracted me to you when I found out that you'd written these books, and I watched your video and I heard about your story. And the challenges that you had challenges in life, like almost everybody does. And you didn't become the victim. You didn't play the victim. You used it as an opportunity to grow and to learn. And now call and read and teach yourself, and look what you've accomplished. And I love seeing people lifted up and out of their victim mentality of, I'm just gonna cave and I'm gonna be poor me. Well, that doesn't accomplish very much in your life, and you're not here to do that. You're here to overcome those things. Everyone is here to not play small, but to step into their power, overcome the fear, and be the best version of yourself, whatever that is. Not someone else's, but your best version. And in that, just being joyful in every moment, no matter what.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you ever read Eckhart Tolle, a book that really popped out to me during a very sad time where I was very angry, frustrated, and nothing was going my way. I'm telling you, everything was falling apart. Losing my house, mom sick with dementia, all kinds of stuff was happening, things that were just out of my control. And I was angry. I was very angry. And that book popped off my shelf. I have a huge library. And I read in that book, The Power of Now. It said, the reason you're unhappy is because you resist what is.
Yes.
And I read that and it made me very mad. I'm like, well, no shit, Sherlock. I'm resisting this because it's crap. But then it had to sink in, I had to read it again and again. And I was like, wow. And I've got chills right now just talking about this because it was so profound to me. And then I went a little further, and it's just about being happy and grateful for the little things in the moment, whether it's a flower or, a friend that calls you, whatever it is.
I think that kind of goes along with one of my favorite sayings, which is those who can bend shall not break. Right. So when we can't help all of the things that are happening right now, right? We can't help that there's a pandemic. We can't help that our state is on fire. We can't help that the peaceful protests turned out to not be peaceful for everybody. And, all of that stuff that I don't want to get into. Right. But what we can help is how we react to it. And if we are so rigid that we can't, sway with the storm, then we're going to break. And then what do we have? Right? So we don't have anything. So it sounds like to me, your book and your services kind of help people learn how to be a little more bendy right? And not so
Absolutely.
rigid, so that we can be more flexible and go along. Life is always going to throw us things that we're not prepared for. I mean, I've never in my 50, how old am I now? 54?
39, that's what I
Yeah.
heard.
I'm big on like 54. I think I'm 54. I think I am. I might be 55. I'm big on embracing every one of my years because it took a lot to get here, you know. So
So
I'm not one
true.
of those people who's like worried about my age. Like I'm all of it, except that I forget it all the time. But I've never. I mean, this is like 2020 is like the year that shall not be named, right? I mean, come on. I'm not going to ask what else can happen because you
Don't
know
ask.
we had the murder hornets already, so you know.
It's
But
like we can't say Voldemort, and it's like this 2020 Voldemort.
exactly. That's it. That's it. Exactly. So it sounds like to me that your services would be really great for people who are having a hard time dealing with all of the things. And then, you know, we've got regular life stuff happening. We've got loved ones passing away. We have people getting sick. We have all kinds of divorce. We're having all kinds of things still happen that happen normal during, you know, great years, right? So now with all of this extra stuff, you know, people are looking for ways to fit, you know, cope, right?
Yes. Yes, and I highly recommend wherever anyone of your beautiful listeners are located, you know, there are hypnotherapists and practitioners that are ready to help you. And I own California Hypnosis Center, and I'm going to share something else in just a minute. And I'm in Stockton, and people do come and see me from all over the place. But I want to point out that for many years before we had the internet, I did hypnosis sessions for people all over the world on the telephone,
Oh, wow.
because I'd connected with the coach and I was traveling around to Canada, and she would bring me in to help and speak and add my, you know, what 10 Keys is about it was for success, for, you know, overcoming your fears and obstacles so you can create a successful business, because we all know that is the journey of self-improvement.
Kidding.
And but I encourage everyone, if you know, look up the local hypnotherapist in your area and call them. They're happy to talk to you. And we can do these sessions right over on Zoom or Skype, or, you know, free conference call has a platform. So we can do it in the comfort of your home. You set your little space up, and it's beautiful. I mean, it works just the same because there's no energy change. You know, sitting here talking, energetically we're connected, and it works just the same as if you're in person. It doesn't even matter what time zone you're in. It makes no difference.
So tell us a little bit about hypnotherapy, because we were back, I want to say in my 20s. I got hypnotized to quit smoking. It didn't work. But I don't think that I'm somebody who's um, receptive to it, probably because I don't understand it and I don't poo-poo anything. But so tell me a little bit about what it is for those of us who don't know.
Okay, well, to just hit on what you're talking about, actually, I specialize in smoking cessation, and I have this amazing program it came from the UK, and I've collaborated with some other people in Sacramento, that it's just awesome. But regular hypnotherapy, other programs for that, I have about a 50% success rate, which is still better than anything else out there, because nothing even has a success rate that high, except just quitting on your own.
Yeah.
So having said that, I wanted you to know that all people can be hypnotized. And the reason why I say this is because all it is a brainwave. It's nothing fancy. Now, yes, are there hypnotists that are really good at creating that confusion that puts you into that alpha brainwave? Absolutely. And I know some of them, and they blow my mind. All of a sudden I'm standing there with my arm floating in the air, and I'm like, how did that happen? So some people are really good at that. That's not the kind of hypnosis I do. Mine's more of a hypno coaching kind of thing. We do a lot of things: hypnotherapy, neuro-linguistic programming, some muscle testing, depending on what someone's working on. So I went to last summer. I've been very honored to present at HypnoThoughts Live in Las Vegas, and I was in their very first program, and then last year again. But I attended a seminar with a world-renowned hypnotist who does stage hypnosis, because I was curious about it myself. So I went in there, and there were probably 200 people in there. And So he leads us all in this group hypnosis thing. And sure, I'm participating. I'm good at it. So, these are all room full of hypnotists. So everybody's really comfortable with it and going along with it. Well, about 10 or 15 people went completely out and did not come back,
No
which
kidding.
was fascinating. So it was Michael Andrews. He was the facilitator, and he shared with us that there are people called somnambulists. It's a small percentage of the population that are extremely sensitive to hypnosis and pretty much will do anything you tell them to do, as long as it doesn't go against their ethical or moral values. I would say 99.9% of the time, if you ask somebody to do something they're not going to be morally okay with, they're going to pop out of it and say no. But it was just really interesting to see these people because they were forgetting numbers and all this other stuff. And, so most people are like you and me. We just, we have a relaxing experience. Sometimes we'll go deeper and have kind of a groovy experience, which is more the theta brainwave. Or you might just hear everything going on. You're an alpha, but you do that all the time. It's nothing unusual. So even, when you're writing, you are so in hypnosis. I'm gone. When I'm writing, I don't even notice anything else going on. I'm deep in my thought. You get in a flow. That's that feeling and you're connected with your higher self during that time. You're accessing a way more powerful and more open part of yourself, part of your consciousness, and it's beautiful. And that's where people get insights and intuition and guidance, and which is really cool. It's a great place to hang out, and that's why people meditate. It's very similar, just with a different purpose.
Yeah, I love being in the writer space. It is probably the most comfortable place for me. My whole body relaxes. I typically don't sit, like I'll sit and write for here for a while, but I have to move around a lot. I don't sit in the same spot.
Yeah.
So I have multiple devices everywhere around my house now. But getting in the writing space is very meditative. I agree with that, concur. My mother taught me early on how to meditate and bring myself down when I would get anxious. And that was a gift that she gave me early, like I was a child. I didn't even know what it was called.
That's so great. What a great mom you have.
Yeah. And so I would absolutely equate with those with the same state of being, for sure.
Well, and the 10 Keys book is kind of a step-by-step primer, if you will, on the process I use when I'm working with people to start with that. How do you quiet down all that thinking all day? It's estimated we think about 65 to 75,000 thoughts every single day. And most of them are not very positive. And a lot of them are not positive about ourselves. Like, oh, you dummy, why did you do that? Nobody likes you anyway, blah, 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 blah. And so that's kind of the beginning of that, is to recognize when you're not feeling as good as you would like, because all emotion follows thought. People don't realize that. You just feel like crappy and you're like, why do I feel like this? Or you just feel happy and you don't know why you feel like that. It's because of your thinking. It's an instruction, basically. Every thought is an instruction. And so the first thing is to be aware that you're not feeling as good as you would like. You feel anxiety, you feel depressed, you feel worried, whatever it is. And then just stop and do some deep breathing and get all your energy and focus on your breath. And what happens is the left and right hemispheres of the brain go into balance, which takes you into that alpha brainwave. And now the thoughts all just kind of go, and you can observe them now from a space that's quieter, and then you can shift and make some adjustments to your thinking. Drop in an affirmation. That's the time to drop in the affirmations, because you're receptive to it.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that. I did a podcast. I have a podcast, Women of Wine Country, and it's just about, feeling good and how things that we can do to make ourselves feel better or cope with what's going on now. And one of my podcasts was talking about the negative loop that we have going on in our head. So you're going to identify with this probably. A lot of us writers have imposter syndrome, where we write and then we're like, no, wait till everybody figures out who I am. Then they're going to never want to read my books again, right? And I talk a lot about that in one of my podcasts, about replacing every time you have a negative thought, counter it with a positive thought. And eventually you just get used to, it becomes automatic, right? You just automatically start.
You got to build the muscle.
Yeah.
You have to practice.
Yep. Repetitive. You've got to be repetitive. I did notice in your bio that you have 4 books scheduled that you're writing. So tell us a little bit about those.
I just laugh when you say that because, you know, I do coaching. I have coaches myself all the time. And the very first thing was like, 1 book at a time.
They don't know what we're talking about.
I'm a Libra. What are you to do?
I mean, if you're any kind of writer at all, you've got like multiple books planned, you know. I mean, I have like literally 105 books planned already, you know.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's
Well, one of the things I said I was going to touch on in a minute was I love working with entrepreneurs. Okay, it's become my passion. And so in 2011, right around the time I wrote 10 Keys, because it was a process of birthing this and just doing it. It's not a perfect book by any means, but sometimes the imposter syndrome thing, you just have to power through that. And if it's not perfect, so be it.
right.
So that was kind of a lesson there for me. But I love working with other entrepreneurs. So I started a company called Hypno Publishing, and it is to help other hypnotherapists and alternative practitioners and coaches to build their successful business, their 6-figure business, or whatever their goal is, and become a published author and brand themselves as an expert in their market. So the next book, the one I'm working on right now, is actually geared towards them, and it's called Your 6-Figure Hypnosis Business.
Very cool.
And actually wrote an ebook version, which has been on the Hypno Professional site for a while, just as a free download. But the actual book's going to be way more involved. And it gets into mindset of the entrepreneur and just the systems you can use to bring clients in successfully and consistently. Because I discovered years ago, Hypno Thoughts had done a survey of all their hypnotherapists. They had like 13,000 members then. They probably have 100,000 now. But at that time, it was just so sad. They did it, you know, how much do you make as a hypnotherapist? And basically the average was really pathetic. And I'm like, there is no way, that's not right. Because I believe that when you're in the coaching field or whatever you're doing in healing, and even with your stories, I mean, that's a healing thing you're doing. I love reading stories like that. It empowers you as a woman in so many ways. But I felt really like it was important that hypnotherapists, coaches, and everyone in the alternative field make a good income, because we're literally helping raise the vibration of the planet. And we should be paid well. Everyone should be paid well. We shouldn't have to worry about bills and things like that. So that's where I started bringing in my past real estate marketing career way back in my 20s and bringing all the internet part of it into it. And I've exploded my business doing it. And so now I've been sharing that with others.
That's great. So you're saying that basically you teach other hypnotherapists and alternative healers how to write a book basically that helps them, you know, propel themselves forward as an authority in their.
That's part of it. Not all of them want to do it. For some, it's like, no, I'm the imposter syndrome thing, but teaching them how to brand themselves. We have websites for them that are lead capture systems. We do e-blasts for them. We have chat bots and Facebook graphics, and all ways to get them traffic and people calling and getting them on the phone. And the next thing will be Facebook Live. I've been trying to help people get that going. Yeah. And so it's fun. I love it because I love seeing entrepreneurs succeed. I still see clients I'm kind of limited right now. I still see hypnotherapy clients in my office here in Stockton or online. We're a really small office, so we keep things very clean and, you know, safe for everybody.
Yeah.
Or online, but that's kind of limited. I'm more into the media and business coaching part of it today. So I'm excited about that book because it's really going to be packed full of gold nuggets to help whoever. I mean, it would apply to any business really in the service area.
Fantastic. That is fantastic.
Thanks.
So how far along are you on your next books? Are you very far along, or do you have publishing dates for them, or when can everybody expect to see them?
The 6-figure hypnosis business book will be ready probably by October. It's pretty much almost done. I just need to reach out to a couple colleagues and have them take a look at it. And I'm going to be mentioning them because I'm associated with a couple different organizations, International Hypnosis Federation, North American Hypnosis Academy, which is up in Sacramento. He teaches that smoking cessation program that is just really successful. And also Enlightened Living Hypnotherapy is one of my HypnoPro clients, and she also does training in Indiana. So I'm got a few little dots to connect, and then I'll be good to go. So really soon. And then the other book is actually a spiritual journey book that I wrote actually a long time ago. I just need to finish it up, clean it up, and do some things. It's called Dragonfly Journey into Light, and it will probably be a book series. It's kind of my personal growth and spiritual experience journey. And it's got some juicy things in there. That's where I get scared, Terry. I'm like, I don't know if I want anyone to read some of these things.
I know it's hard to put yourself out there. The writing is a scary thing. People don't understand how scary it is.
Yeah. We all go through that imposter syndrome thing. It's just a crack up. And then I'm like, okay, Susie, you can go hide, or you can go be a wallflower. Yeah. But I wasn't born and put on this planet to be a wallflower. That's one thing I figured out.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I think you referenced kind of my experience, but I think if you can glean anything from our discussion is when you survive a illness that you don't know if you're going to survive or not, and then you're at my age, which like I said is 54 or 55, however old I am, you kind of stop caring. You get to a point where, I mean, you care what people that you love think about you. And I certainly care what my readers think. I want them to read my books and enjoy them. But I'm not really open for other people's judgment. You know what I mean? It's something that there's a very small segment of the population who is born with that gift. You know, that's something that comes with experience and living through some stuff that you didn't know if you were going to get through, and age. I mean, that really just comes with that. And, you come to the other side of it and you're kind of like, your other people's judgment is really their business. It's none of my business. And I often say that to people who want to tell me something that somebody said about me. And I'll say, it's just none of my business. And if they don't want to say it to me, it's probably not good for me to hear it. And it's, it's so nice for me to say it because then I don't got to hear whatever thing that's probably not going to be flattering. And it's a relief. Like it's a relief from the judgment that other people will put on you. So get that book out there, girl. Put your stuff down.
It's very
stuff down and
it's trippy.
There, girl.
There's some trippy stuff in there. It's going to be a little mind-boggling, but I know it's just what you're saying. One of my friends she's 62 or something now, but when I first turned 50, because I'm 55 as well, when I first turned 50, I'm like, oh my God, I feel so old. She's like, oh no, this is the best time in your life. You aren't going to give a rat's butt what anybody thinks, and you're just really going to step into it. Well, I didn't know what she meant right away. It took a little while, but then it kind of started happening. I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I don't even get upset when people get upset with me. I'm just like, oh, you're hurting. You're in pain. I'm sorry.
I feel bad for somebody who's upset and not take ownership in it. It's not easy to do that when you're in your 20s or 30s.
No, not for me. I was in
the 30s. Mess. For us who are raising children, we are responsible for everybody. And so we're responsible for other people's feelings, and we're responsible, we assign that to ourselves, right? And it's just so freeing, like your friend said, when you get to be our age. I actually had somebody tell me when I was in my 30s that when I got to be 50, I would become invisible. And she had turned 50. And she was saying that, when you get to be 50, you're invisible. Nobody sees you anymore. Like you walk into a room and nobody turns to look at you anymore. Nobody cares who you are. Wow. You're invisible. And I was sad that was her experience, but it sat with me. And I remembered, I guess I got older and older and I got closer to 50. I was like, when am I going to become invisible? And I thought, you know what, instead of being upset about it, like she was very upset about it, I decided it was going to become my superpower. And if I was going to be invisible anyway, might as well do whatever the heck I want if nobody's watching, right?
I like it.
And there you go. And come to find out, it wasn't true. It was true for her because that was what she had internalized, right?
Yeah.
But it's not true for me. I still walk into a room and I'm a loud, blonde-haired
You're
woman.
a sexy goddess is what you are.
No,
I say embrace
my husband
that.
thinks so yay. But, yeah, I'm still loud and I'm still, just a lot. So no, I'm a lot. So anyway.
I love it. Muchness. I love it. So I think at this point in our lives, we need to embrace our inner goddess big time and just let us be who we are. There's no point in fooling around anymore and worrying about all these things we don't need to worry about. And
I agree. And I think also that, you and I, we can really help the women that are younger than us and,
I agree.
help them not take themselves so seriously. They don't have to put the pressures on themselves that I did when I was raising children and trying to have a career and get educated and keep my marriage alive and, do all the things that I was supposed to be doing. They can learn from us and we can help them and we can be kind to them and not tell them when you turn 50 you'll be invisible, so enjoy yourself now, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just feel like it's up to us. It's up to us women to support each other. It's up to us women to take care of each other, and help the younger ones and help the older ones. I mean, we're the nurturers. We are. And
so
it's
true.
a great gift. A great gift. So
absolutely. I agree with everything you just said there. And I'm so blessed because some reason I attract the 20-somethings in here that can't figure out why their families don't understand them. And because they're enlightened souls and nobody gets it. And so they tend to find me, and I just love it for that reason.
Good.
They're just a whole interesting bunch. And of course everybody else. But when I get the young ones that come in that are like, why do I feel like this? And who am I? And then I explain, look, you're a light worker. You need to embrace your power and not hide from it anymore. You can handle it. Be who you are, because you're having this human experience. We all are. We're all from the same beautiful God energy, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
We're all here having a human experience, and we've got to learn to love each other no matter what, because we're all just each other. I mean, we're all the same stuff.
Amazing. I love it.
Here we are.
Well, I'd love to have you come back on when you get your next book done. I'd love to have you back on and talk about your book. For the viewers, how would you like them to get a hold of you?
Well, there's a couple ways. Let's see here. If you want to talk to me, you can visit, you can call me, but you can visit my website. And with the easiest way to get there is just suziebowers.com, or you can go hypnosiscalifornia.com. It goes to the same place. And my book, 10 Keys, is on Amazon. Suzie Bowers on Amazon.com goes right there if you're interested in that. And anything else? I mean, I love to hear from people. I love to hear how things are going. I love to just be available. I'm on Facebook a lot. I've got a couple pages there. California Hypnosis Center is on there with Suzie Bowers. And I love to hear from people, or even email me, Suzie@hypnoprofessional.com. And happy to answer any questions and just be, just hold a space for you if that's what you need. Because we all need something right now.
Yeah, we do. That's a truth.
Well,
and I think I have all of your links, and I'll add them to the video description so that they have the ability to get a hold of you once they've watched this.
Great. Thank you, Terry. I really appreciate just getting to connect with you and to be here and share. And
yeah, thanks for coming on. It's been really nice getting to know you and hearing about your services.
Thanks a lot. All right.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. And don't forget, go check out Suzie Bowers. Go check out her Facebook page. Go check out her website. She's got some amazing things going on. Her book, 10 Keys to Living a Soul Life, is on Amazon. Go get it. Read it. I'd love to hear what you think. I'm getting it. I'm reading it. I'll let you know what I think. Also, it helps authors a lot if you could leave her a review once you've read it. Leave her a review. That would be amazing. So, and if you'd like to talk to her more, so you can get her on her website. I believe it's www.suziebowers.com. There will be links in the description. And then, as always, thank you for joining. I am your host, Terry Wells Brown, with the series Women of Wine Country. Stay tuned. My 5th book, Grief and Greed, and it's dealing with the California fires, believe it or not. The aftermath is out September 30th, so stay tuned. All right, everybody, as always, stay safe, stay sane, and if I can get my computer going, I will see you later. Bye-bye.